Hey, welcome back, y'all. Today I'm making a pad kra pao inspired salad. It's not going to be pad kra pao, but the flavors are going to be somewhat similar, and it's going to be a pretty easy and pretty healthy dinner that you can put together in like 30 minutes. The first step here is going to be to make a kind of rough paste with some aromatics, and that's going to start with some garlic. I got 7 cloves of garlic here. I'm going to crush those and then just give them a rough chop and then put them into my mortar and pestle. I'm going to start pulverizing my garlic first before I add anything else to my mortar and pestle, mainly because my mortar and pestle is pretty small, and if I added everything all at once, it would be hard to get it all going without it all just kind of sloshing around. So it's easier to do them one at a time. Next up, I got a couple serrano peppers. Normally, pad kra pao would feature Thai bird chilies, but these are what were available to me, and they'll make a fine substitute. So those are going to go in with my garlic, and I'm going to give them a rough pound before I add my next ingredient, which is going to be a shallot. As with the garlic and the serranos, I'm just going to give this a rough chop before I drop it in the mortar and pestle and pound it up. A lot of the time when I do stuff in the mortar and pestle, I like to add a pinch of kosher salt to the mix as well, just to add a little bit of abrasiveness so everything breaks down a little bit easier. But I'm avoiding doing that this time because there's going to be a lot of salty ingredients coming later, and I don't want to overdo it on the salinity now if I can avoid it. So that looks good to me there. I'm not really trying to turn this into a smooth paste or anything like that. I'm really just trying to break things down to extract as much juice and flavor out of those aromatics as I can. So that should be fine there. I'm gonna push that off to the side for now and then work on the only other veggie I have to chop up here, which is gonna be some lettuce for my salad. I'm gonna use iceberg lettuce. The stir-fry portion of this is going to be really salty and savory and spicy. So for the lettuce, I really just want something that's going to be really crisp and refreshing. And iceberg lettuce just kind of fits the bill for that. I've done this with romaine and I didn't like it as much. But that being said, if you want to use romaine, you can use that. Another good choice would probably be cabbage. Whatever you end up using, I like to slice it into thin shreds for this application. Now that all my veg prep is done, I'm going to start working on my chicken here. You can use basically any protein you want for this dish. Pork, beef, chicken, seafood, tofu. It would all work, but I have chicken thighs today. Normally with pad kra pao, you would make it with some sort of ground meat and then serve it over rice. But because I'm going to do it on top of shredded lettuce today, I'm going to try and sort of match the form factor of that a little bit better. So I'm going to slice these thighs into thin strips. I'm going to start heating up my wok now. If you don't have a wok, you can do this in a large frying pan. It doesn't really matter. Going to put that over about medium-high heat. It doesn't need to be super hot for this application or anything. And I'm also going to start boiling a little pot of water I have in the back so I can poach an egg later. While that all heats up, I'm going to make my sauce for the stir fry. It's going to be really simple. I'm going to start with about a tablespoon or so of soy sauce and then about an equal part of fish sauce, maybe slightly less fish sauce. And then about a tablespoon and a half, maybe 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Lastly, I'm going to add a spoonful of sugar. I usually don't add sugar to savory things. It's just generally not my taste preference to make things sweeter. But with this one, there's so much going on and there's so many flavorful components to this dish that the sugar really does help balance things out. All right, my wok's preheated now, so I'm gonna put my aromatics in to start sauteing. When you do this, do yourself a favor and turn on whatever ventilation system you have. I didn't because, well, I'm filming and I was afraid it was going to be making too much noise. But the spicy stuff in the peppers will aerosolize a bit, and it had me coughing pretty good for a while. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world or anything like that, but it is a bit uncomfortable. So if you have vents or a window nearby, turn those on and open them up and you should be fine. Just going to give all that maybe a minute or so, and then I'm going to put my chicken in. And I'm going to let all that go on medium-high heat, tossing and stirring occasionally, pretty much until the chicken looks cooked on the outside. I sliced this up pretty thin, so once it looks cooked on the outside, it should pretty much be good to go. Meanwhile, my water's up to a simmer, so I'm gonna poach my egg. It feels like there are a million different tricks for doing poached eggs. This is the way I like to do it. I get the water up to a hard simmer or even a boil, and then once it's there, I drop the heat all the way down to low and immediately form a gentle vortex in the water and drop the egg in the middle. The chicken looks good now, so I'm gonna put my sauce into the wok. I'm gonna put about half this sauce in now and then see where I'm at. I'm not really trying to make this soupy or super saucy or anything, just trying to get everything a nice coating. That sauce level looks about right to me, so I'm gonna put my last ingredient into the wok, which is gonna be basil. This is just sweet basil. Normally with this dish you would use Thai holy basil, but sweet basil is what I had, so that's what I'm going to use here. It's going to be different, but it'll still taste good. I'm basically just going to mix that in until it wilts, and then I'm going to shut the heat off on that and keep it on standby while I finish everything else up. Gonna dress my lettuce for the salad now. Gonna keep it super simple, not even gonna bother to make like a real emulsified salad dressing or anything like that. Just gonna toss it with some toasted sesame oil and some rice vinegar, and that's it. It's time, or maybe a little past time, to take my poached egg out of the water now. It still feels a little runny in there, so hopefully it'll be all right. And now it's time to start assembling. So lettuce goes in the bowl, and then on top of that goes our stir-fried chicken and basil. And then perched on top, our egg. And there you go. That is a hearty and delicious weeknight meal that is so packed with flavor. It's super savory, salty, spicy, a little bit of tanginess from the vinegar. It really hits all those notes from the classic Thai stir fry that it's based on. Moment of truth, let's see how I did on this poached egg here. Yeah, it's a little bit overdone, but you know what? The yolk's still mostly runny, and this is so delicious that I don't even care. So I hope you try it out sometime soon. Let me know how it goes. Thanks.